In March 2015, I was able to take advantage of record cold temperatures in the Hudson Valley for February and a lot of ice on the Hudson. The ice was covered with snow, but because I had gotten into the sport of snow kiting, I was able to use downhill skis and a snow kite to cover 40 miles of the Hudson River from Poughkeepsie to Hudson in 4 different legs in March. The first leg was from Hyde Park to Staatsburg. The second leg was from Hudson to Barrytown. The third leg was from Poughkeepsie to Hyde Park, and I completed the trip with the fourth leg from Barrytown to Staatsburg. So on March 1st, the first leg, I started on a south wind from the Hyde Park station, the old train station. I set up and headed north on a south wind towards Esopus Island, passing the Poughkeepsie Yacht Club and Esopus Island, passing Norrie Point and Norrie Point Boat Basin, past Old Norrie to Mills Mansion, where I packed up, hiked out, and got picked up. The next day, there was a strong northwest wind, so I headed all the way up to Hudson. I put on at Hudson. I had some locals drive me down the railroad tracks, and I set up just across from the Athens Hudson Lighthouse and headed south on a gusty and strong northwest wind underneath these big power cables here, down towards Rogers Island, underneath the Rip Van Winkle Bridge, headed south. The ice was pretty good, and the nice thing about the kite is you can pick your way through ice chunks pretty nicely. Past the roll of Jensen Kill, no problem. Continued south towards North Germantown Landing here, little mini park. Headed south towards Cheviot. Where is Cheviot? Somewhere here, there it is. Continue to head south, just south of Cheviot. I hit some snow where water had absorbed under and made a real slush pile. I actually fell in it and got pretty wet, but because the temperature was fairly near freezing and I had other gloves to put on, I decided to continue south, heading down towards past Claremont, towards Sopus Creek and the Saugerties Lighthouse, down past Tivoli. Starts to get pretty narrow and chunky here. I actually fell in some really bad ice just north of Magdalen Island. Had to pack up the kite and walk through the ice behind Magdalen Island, set up the kite again. Was able to get past Kruger's Island, no problem. Past South Bay there towards Barrytown. I wanted to head south and make it to Rhinecliff, but the wind died on me. It's just south of Astor Point, so I packed up the kite, walked back to Astor Point, and out through Rokeby to get picked up. Then, third day, I went all the way down to the other end, to Poughkeepsie, and I put on just south of the walkway over the Hudson at Warriors Park. Set up my kite and on a south wind again, headed north underneath the walkway, past Marist Boathouse and Marist College, up past the old Roosevelt Boathouse here and the boat basin here, past the Culinary Institute, up towards Rogers Point. Got around Rogers Point no problem, past the boat club here, and made it to the Hyde Park station, where I sailed around a little bit, then packed up and got picked up. And then the next day, the weather the next week was forecast to get warm, so I knew I was running out of time to accomplish my goal. But luckily the next day there was a stiff west wind, so I went to Barrytown and parked there in Barrytown and walked along the tracks, and just south of Edgewater went on the ice and set up, and then kited south on a stiff west wind. The snow was actually getting soft, but there was plenty of wind, down underneath the Rhinecliff Bridge, and then very, very fast and straight down towards Rhinecliff, basically in one long reach. The Coast Guard ice cutter was parked at Rhinecliff, so I landed the kite just off the bow, walked around the cutter, through the park, down along the river a little bit, back onto the ice, set up again, and headed south. Down past Vandenberg Cove, down past Sopus Meadows and the Sopus Lighthouse, to Mills Mansion. I could have kept heading south, but I had accomplished my goal. I sailed around in the little bay there in Mills Mansion before packing up and getting picked up. And that completed my goal of sailing the 40-mile stretch from Poughkeepsie to Hudson on a snow kite. It's about 40 miles in a straight line from Poughkeepsie to Hudson. My GPS tracks added up to around 72 miles on the 4 days that I accomplished that goal. Thanks for listening.